Here we go again, everyone. Back on the 59. Got to get as much done as I can. Here it's Monday morning, and the 37's coming back either Friday afternoon or Saturday for me to finish it off. So I want to get a bunch of little stuff done and caught up on the 59 so I can get it out of the shop here and make some room. So I'll just show you what I'm working on. I've got to figure out a fuel door for the side of the box because of the location of the tank. So what I've done is I went out to that Durango I got out there and I cut the fuel door out the side of it. Got to watch myself, everything's sharp. So all I'm going to use is the hinge and possibly the mounting location here, but I might even make a new one for that. So I would have taken the one out of the 03 Silverado, but it had a flatbed on it. The box must have been rusted right off. So after doing a bunch of measurements and trying to figure out where the fuel door was going to go, I have pieces that I cut out of the bed right here. I always save this crap until the project's done. So what I've determined is this is the lower part of the box, and then there's another about 10 inches above this line. This is where it's going to have to go, right in the center of the bullet or the rocket that goes down the side of the truck. So I took and I made a beer case cad pattern for the opening, and I'm going to do a trial fit, and I'm going to make all of the structure that's going to hold that to fit in this piece to make sure everything proof of concept type of thing. And then I'll make the cutout in the 59 in the box, and I'll put the door into it. That way everything should be good. So I've got this all marked out now. I tapered it back slightly on the leading edge here. This is the front of the truck, so that when it opens, because this is lower than this, if it wasn't tapered back, it would hit when it was trying to open and bind up. So I'm just going to get this cut out of here and then figure out the inner structure, what we're going to need. And I'm hoping, well, what I'll probably end up doing is I have the other piece I cut out, I can use the piece I cut out of it, or sorry, I'll probably wreck this piece cutting it out, so I'll have to cut another one, cut on the outside of the edge to make the actual door. So it's going to take two of these to do it. So, okay, we'll get this cut out and see how it all works out. Okay, I got the first piece cut out, and orientation's right. Now, because of the positioning of this, my actual door is just over 1/8 of an inch shorter on top than it is on the bottom. So I had to be really careful with my orientation on the piece I'm cutting out for the door. So this one I cut just inside the line. This one I'm going to rough cut outside the line, and then I can sand it to fit into the opening. This is going to be the door I'm going to use. And I haven't quite figured out yet if I'm going to build the entire piece on there and then weld the whole thing in, or just cut the opening into the truck and then fit the guts in and plug weld it from the outside and then seam seal it around. Probably get less distortion if I do it that way. Just don't know how hard it's going to be. Okay, so we are going to get this one cut out, and then we'll see how the two pieces fit together, and then I can try and figure out how the hinge is going to mount in there. Okay, so I've got this fit in here. It took quite a bit of trimming because I cut this one to the outside of the line and I cut this one to the outside of the line as well. So they were exactly the same size. And I just slowly brought it back. And then, as I figured, being a 59 GMC, there's not a lot that's the same from side to side. And the curve out of the other piece was more at the bottom than it is on this side, so I had to adjust a little bit there. So what I have to do now is figure out the clearance I need. As you can see, there's almost Well, there's over 1/8 of an inch of clearance all the way around this one. So I'm going to have to introduce that same clearance here for movement of the door. And once I get that figured out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld a piece of number 9 wire to the inside edge all the way around. That'll finish the door itself. And then I can grind the edge with a nice bevel on it. I'll show you the process when I get to that. So I think what I'm going to do is clearance this next. Possibly get that piece of wire on there. I'm actually wondering if I shouldn't try and get that hinge taken apart first and see if I can get that fit and see if this is actually going to open and close properly with this being. I don't think there's going to be a problem the way I've got this tapered back on the back side here. Oh, excuse me, grinding dust. Anyhow, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. I think I will actually clearance this a little bit more first, and then we can carry on possibly fitting the hinge. Okay, we're back again, another day here. So what I've done is I cut some strips out of the one of the other pieces of the bed side to get the proper shape there. Then I made a filler piece to the exact shape, welded it to it, and that's what I'm going to use for the structure that will hold the fuel door in place. So this one, I already have it fit. It comes right up flush here with the outside edge. There will be a couple of tabs that go in here that will stop the door. Probably put a couple of pieces of rubber on there just so that the door doesn't sit there and rattle. And this is the one for the back end. I had to recess it considerably further because the hinge itself will be mounted off the back plate of that, as you can see right there. See if I can get this in the proper light. So I will weld a tab off here that will screw through these two holes to mount the actual hinge once I get everything set up here and going. So I'm going to get this one in place, and then I'm going to make another strip that comes across the top and the bottom, and we'll weld to these, and then those can be plug welded here as well, and that'll give the internal structure to mount the actual door on. Okay, here's the next piece of the puzzles. So I've got this area here on the top, would be the top of the opening. So I took and I broke this piece of 18 gauge. I broke it as far as I could go on my brake, which would be probably close to 100 degrees. And then I broke it again 1/4 of an inch away. I trimmed this end at an angle to follow this side, and then I relieved this to go over top of the piece that I put in on this side. So this is going to go in here. It's going to be flush with the edge of the opening, and then I'm going to weld this to both of these pieces really solid so it'll form a square. Then I'll make one for the bottom exactly the same, and then this piece can come out. I can fit the door to it, get the hinge set up, and then what I'm hoping I can do is I'll just take and I'll cut the opening in the truck bed exactly where I want it, and then I will fasten this piece into that opening, and everything should transfer over. I'm thinking what will happen is if I try and use this piece like I cut around it, it's going to be slightly different because it's from the opposite side of the truck, and I might end up having quite a bit of irregularities where this has to butt weld. So I think this will be a much easier to do, and if I do end up with some differences in the shape here, I can fill that with seam sealer and it won't be an issue. Okay, we got these side pieces welded in. Need a bunch of cleanup and trimming on to get rid of the excess that I don't need. I spent probably 2 hours with the the fuel door mount from the Durango, getting it trimmed down shorter and shorter to get the proper distance out and the proper distance towards the front. It was a real pain in the ass. I probably got 2.5 hours in just fitting the hinge part here. I've got some tabs made for mounting the hinge itself to the fuel door in exactly the right spot. Again, takes forever to get those angles figured out when you can't use cardboard CAD and you can't use a computer. So I'll just flip it over here and show you. We take this magnet off, and so I haven't put the stop in it yet. This is what we have. Bring it up into frame. It fits really good. I'm just going to use this to get it open, and opens up really nice. I can finish welding everything in here. I've got to build some gussets off of the mount here to the back just to keep that all solid. There'll be lots of room in there for the filler. And once I get this mounted into the truck, I'm going to cut a finger slot in here instead of raising this, so that your finger can just go in and hook underneath it. So that's that. I'll get everything finished up and welded here. I can take this piece out. Then I can cut the hole in the fender on the GM box, and I can put this piece in. So I think it's going to work good. Everything, I don't need this piece anymore. This will just go in behind the hole that I cut in the GM. So long as I don't screw that hole up, everything will be good. Okay, everyone, I got this portion of the fuel door done. It's just in my mock-up panel for now, ready to get cut into the box on for the pickup. It needs a little bit of adjustment, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in case there's a little bit of discrepancies between this piece and the one that's on the truck, as I mentioned earlier, because this is from the back of the box and it's going into the front of the box. So what I did was I put this little relief hole here for your finger to go in. Just let me get this open. Opens up, we get a really nice opening for the fuel filler in there. I got everything cleaned up on the back side here. Get the light over on this side. I got gussets put on the actual hinge mount, so it's welded across here. There's a gusset goes to the back of the panel there, and I think it's going to work out really well. So I'll just flip it around here and show you the back side. So everything there is all finished off. I'm going to plug weld it in about 4 places on each end, as well as one in the center on each side. And then I'm probably going to fill the edge gap with some either some fiberglass reinforced Bondo, or I might use some of that metal repair JB weld just to seal it all up there. So that's going to be it for this this part of the video here. I'm going to see if we can get this in the right spot. I'm not going to show the installation in this because the truck has to go outside while the 37 comes to get finished off. I'm hoping it's only going to be here for 15, 20 days. It's got to be at the body shop on the 21st of March. So I went and checked it out. The front end's not in terrible shape. One fender's pretty rough. The other one just has a dent in it. And then I got a little bit of rust repair left to do. So anyhow, guys, that's my fuel door dilemma taken care of. For now, we'll get her fixed up at a later date here. So take care, and thanks for tuning in.